edition, we're going to be talking about life in Reterra. This is sort of a review, but we've only played the game once. If you watch our playthrough, we're specifically playing it with the Dized app to sort of show how the Dized app takes you through an entire game. So we've only played the game once.
We wanted to be totally green going into the Dized app, just to show off how the Dized app works. So again, thank you to Dized for being friends of the channel. We appreciate your continued support. And I'll go ahead and let Bob talk first, because if I start talking, I'm going to talk all over what Bob has to say, and I don't want to do that. Bob, knock it out.
So what you're doing in the game is you're rebuilding a community, and so you're trying to lay these tiles, which are, each tile is a 4x4 with one of 5 different terrains, and you're laying your tiles in a 4x4 square, and you're trying to increase or manage your terrain sizes to get more points. And there's buildings that you can put out. If you have 2 gears next to each other, you can put a building on it, and then those buildings will help you out. It's sort of an engine building. Some of the buildings are sort of give you like an engine for getting more points. Sort of. We ran across one building that did that in ours, but I imagine there's other buildings in the future that can kind of do that too.
Right, but I didn't want to walk over what Bob was saying. So go ahead, Bob.
Oh no! Well, you just kind of gave the basics of the game.
Yeah, let me get started with the basics.
It's mostly you're playing for yourself, except if you're the junk king who decides to throw stuff over at your neighbors. So it's competitive, yet you're really mainly playing for yourself, which is good. I mean, it's not too much of a gotcha.
It's not.
Yeah. Well, there's the gotcha of flinging, like if you have one of these buildings, the farm, if you own it, you can throw garbage on other people, and you start covering up things that gain them points. So you're taking away points from people. Sort of a gotcha if you're looking at what other people are trying to do. I mean, you can look at the tiles that are out there, and you can steal a really nice tile from someone, I guess, that they're going to want.
The card I used to fling junk on Bob's property was the farm. And the side we were using said every time you place a building, place a junk token on a relic in one of your neighbor's communities. So I kept building buildings and flinging the trash on Bob. The other side of this card says every time you place an inhabitant, place a junk token on a relic in one of your neighbor's communities.
Oh, that is going to give you much more junk.
Much more junk.
Yeah. And the strategy you were using is so you could benefit from the school card, which was worth 2 additional points if you have more visible relics than both your neighbors. So we were kind of racing on the relic, and that was kind of my goal at one point. And I did not pay attention to how many buildings you guys were making. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what threw me.
You went the inhabitants route of I'm going to load up on inhabitants, and that's where I'm going to get my points. And that's the thing. At the end of this game, you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories, and you add them all up. Can you do everything? No. And so you kind of choose your path, and you go down that, and then add up what you can for your point salad at the end.
It's still pretty balanced, though, I think. Even though
I think so.
You guys were only 1 point away, but without all that junk, I would have been pretty darn close, within 4 or 5 points.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Yeah. Well, then again, you wouldn't have gotten all the school scoring as well.
Yeah.
It would just happen to be kind of, I guess, a coincidence that Jason there was not putting any relics out.
None.
So he was not a target at all for you. No. I mean, if he was trying to go with that, then that might have split up your...
And that was obviously a portion of my strategy. I saw you were getting relics. I wanted the points from here, and so I was like, okay, I can keep Bob at bay. Jay wasn't adding relics because Jay, I had it in mind to go for this big thing, and it was a ton of points.
That was,
but you weren't adding relics, so it allowed me to stay focused on Bob. It wasn't a 3-person race. But again, since you can't do everything, Jay decided to forego relics. Whereas for me, I decided to forego. I did some with inhabitants, not much. I did some with buildings. I had everything kind of even. I wasn't going in one direction or another.
There's many different strategies you can go to. I was just thinking about that, because just with the infirmary, I was adding, these 5 inhabitants. But then if I didn't realize, if I could have continued instead of trying to spread out my points with different sections of terrain, I could have just kept building buildings on there and just filling them up like mad, which I didn't do.
Yeah.
But
I found like with most tile placement games, this game looks like it's going to be, you're going to have one clear winner and everyone else is going to be. Now, if you look at our playthrough, he won with 52, I came in second with 51. But I took some huge risks and got really lucky. I mean, I think that one little bit of one tile here or there goes a different direction, and he's beaten us by 20 points.
I thought Bob had this in the bag. I did. I thought Bob had us beat, and Bob ended up in last.
by 15 points.
But just looking at it, the inhabitants are table presence impressive, and he's got a lot of them. Well, they're only worth one. But,
right.
Yeah.
It is important to note that this game comes with these are your scoring, these are your building cards that are right out front here, and there are 6 variations essentially that come with the box. But then you also have the option to mix and match and do whatever you want, as long as it includes 2 buildings that are 2 spaces, 2 buildings that are 3 spaces, and 1 building that's 4 spaces. And so all these are 2-sided, and there's 3 different sets. And then again, mix and match. And the book gives you a thing in the back there to record the ones that you enjoyed. So you can just write them in the book. Now, you guys know me. I sleeve my cards. I don't write in my books. So that's an issue for me.
Make a photocopy, write it out on the
That's
back.
normally what I do.
What I also like about it is it's short, too. It's
Yeah.
only 16 turns, and then we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, our playthrough was a little bit longer because the Dice app, gives a very thorough
Yes.
explanation and a lot of examples. Those examples and that amount of thoroughness might not be necessary for all players, but it's good to have it there. We could have just said, yeah, fine, skipped ahead on a bunch of them.
Right.
But, we left it in there just so people would get a sense of how the app goes with it.
Right. I think there's also age-wise, I think this is 10 and up, and I would say that's about right. The strategies in here are not overly complex. Some of the cards can be a little confusing. Read them thoroughly. You guys know us. You watch a channel. We don't read thoroughly, and it costs us in the end. But I think the age bracket is about right. I think I wouldn't have any problem with 10 and up. Definitely teenager level or more. But, again, I get a lot of King Domino vibes off of this.
I was thinking of also Planet Unknown.
Planet Unknown?
A little bit, yeah.
Now, the one difference being in this game, in King Domino, you're free to mess up your place however you want.
Right.
And so this is a little bit different than that. You're going to end up with a 4x4, assuming you don't end up with just completely unplayable tiles. So
every tile is playable.
So
if you're down to the last one and you don't match any of the things, and none of these match them, then
this is up to
playing.
4 players, right? Yeah.
This is up to 4.
There's still so many other
There's
tiles
so
to
many
play,
tiles left.
So even with, everybody's got the same 16 4x4 playing card, there's still so many other ones.
You're never going to get the
So
same
there's
thing.
an infinite replayability on this.
Yeah.
Or near infinite, I would say.
Right.
Like, you mentioned King Domino and also plays a little bit like Acropolis. Both those games I get smoked in. I'm thinking, this one, like I said, I thought I was doing awesome. Everything I was trying to do was working out great, and I still lost. Jason didn't think he was doing well, and he won. So this was just the one.
Confidence in where I went.
we just played this game once, but I'm not sure if this is the kind of game that I'm going to dig because it just I don't do well in them.
Yeah.
These type of games. We only played once. Who knows? Maybe it'd be different, but it just seems enough like some other games that I can extrapolate.
That's as honest as you can be. If you don't feel you do well at these games, it doesn't make it a bad game.
No.
It just makes it you're bad at this game. I'm bad at engine builders. I'm terrible at them. But no, it's got a ton of replayability. If you like games like King Domino, like Planet Unknown, your tile drafting, tile placing games, this one I think would definitely fit in your library if that's up to you. Okay, so this one retails for $29.99, but you got to buy it straight from Hasbro. I haven't seen it on Amazon or Miniature Market or any other gaming places, so you need to go look for a used copy or you can get it straight from Hasbro. I'd say for $30, I'd say this is a smart buy. Yeah. It's a good one. If you like this type of game, then $30 is a fair price.
But even if you're just sort of meh on games like this, I mean, $30 is not bad. It isn't,
Can't really
unless
go-
you hate those games, you know, it's enjoyable and it's fun, and obviously it's kind of a surprise. You can't really tell as you're going along exactly who's winning.
Yeah, we couldn't anyway. But I, you know, especially in a board game sphere where new games traditionally cost you $60 and up,
Yeah.
and if it's a AAA title, you're looking at over $100, $30 for a game. I wouldn't even have to warn my wife that I
According
did.
to the box, it said 2024, so
Yeah, it's-
relatively new.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I always say, if you're going to play a game, you know, there's only 16 rounds. You know, if you're going to play a game that you don't love and you're going to lose at least it's quick.
Have fun with that.
If I'm-
Spend time with your
if-
family and friends.
If I'm gonna take a beating, I want it to be quick.
Yeah. So let us know down in the comments if you've ever played this game, how you feel about tile drafting games. And we'll see you in the next video.